Hi, Coach Markel here. I'm here today to talk about training for an Ironman. Over the years, when I've talked to athletes preparing for an Ironman, their biggest fear is being undertrained. What if I get to race day and I am not trained enough? What am I going to do? I don't want to DNF the race. I don't want to have to walk the marathon. I don't want to not make the cutoff time. All these fears are wrapped up in being undertrained. But do you know what? Most people that train for an Ironman and follow what they're saying on books and websites and other people that have done Ironmans, they overtrain. There is a big difference in being undertrained and underprepared. And most people are overtrained and underprepared. When we overtrain for an Ironman, we risk a lot of things. We risk burnout, we risk injury, we risk hurting ourselves in not just like an injury, but systemically becoming overtrained and suffering from overtraining syndrome. Training for an Ironman is very strenuous because doing an Ironman is very strenuous. But most people overtrain, and that's where they go wrong. I want to talk to you about low volume Ironman training. This is a way to train for an Ironman and not get injured. There are so many ways to prepare for an Ironman without injury, and low volume training is one of those. Guess what? It also makes it more fun, and it also makes it where you not only have less chance of injury, but you have more opportunities to do the other things in life that you love. Of course, Ironman training is very demanding, but it doesn't have to ruin the rest of your life. It doesn't have to ruin your relationships, your work, your friends, your family. It doesn't have to take all of those things over. So, by making sure that you are doing low volume training for Ironman, doesn't mean you're not going to do no training. It just means you're not pushing yourself way past that healthy threshold. And by staying with a low volume Ironman training plan, you're going to enjoy the training a whole lot more. So let's talk about how we do this. I've coached athletes over the years that literally have been doing hundreds more miles per week than they need to. I'm talking 200 or more extra miles on the bike. I'm talking about hours more in the swim. I'm talking about running way more miles or kilometers than you need to. So by having a very specific training plan where you're focusing on getting the job done, but not in an excessive way, will be very, very powerful and help you maintain the health that you want and the enjoyment of the sport. So for instance, some people think, okay, I'm going to be doing a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. That is true, but you do not have to complete those distances every single week. You don't even need to get to those distances till the very end of your training. So many people start out all gung-ho and they're doing marathon after marathon. They're doing century rides. If you're new to it, that means 100 miles on the bike. They're doing century rides weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend. That's really not necessary. A lot of people will think I'm crazy because using this methodology of training goes against the grain. But by doing this methodology of training, you're going to have much more success and you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more. In my next video, I'm going to break down the type of mileage you need to do in the first several months of your Ironman training.